Hey folks, TK here. In this very quick video, I want to share with you how I drive engagement in the first moments of a webinar. What you see on your screen here is the title of a webinar that I've got coming up very, very shortly. And I want to show you how within the first 90 seconds, I get students doing something and doing something that drives a bit of fun, bit of engagement, and links to my core message. So this is the title slide, super quick bit of background. Prior to this, there's already been a bit of introduction. I've been introduced. The client, Velg Training, have already done a bit of an intro. So we're probably about 3.5, 4 minutes technically into the webinar. People have arrived in. We might have 100 people here. I will briefly introduce, in this case, we've got 4 sessions. This is session 1. I'll briefly introduce the session. We're talking in this case about emotional resonance. Very, very quickly, I will flick to my first slide. And in this case, you'll see here, this is asking the student to, or the students, the attendees, to put a 1 in the chat. That is the chat window in Zoom. And in this case, it's a fairly straightforward question. Put a 1 in the chat if you remember the first training session you facilitated, the first ever training session. Now, there's a couple of things going on here. The first thing I want you to pay attention to is if you want to drive engagement, if you want people to do something, anything in your training room, make it easy for them to do it. Make it easy for them to do it. Now, one of the easiest ways for people to engage and put a comment into the chat is not type a word or share a thought. It's just to put a 1 or a 2 or a 3, rate something. A number is super easy. Now, when I do this, the chat just lights up. You get people just typing in a 1, and I might make a joke here at some point. Something like, put a number 2 in if you can't remember it or you don't want to remember it. Whatever, you can have some fun with it. But make it simple. So in this case, fairly low stakes question. I'll then animate or bring up the next animation. And in this case, it's another little rating on a scale of 1 to 7. And I'll explain that rating and I'll have a little bit of fun with it. And people will put in their ratings. Now, the second thing I'd like you to pay attention to here is not only is that an easy way for people to interact, but it's a low stakes way. There's nothing here. There's no right or wrong answer. It's very easy for a student to participate without feeling like, okay, am I going to get this wrong or am I going to be under pressure? It's entirely subjective. Can you remember it? Yes or no? Most people can. Doesn't matter if you can't. There's so many comments in the chat, no one notices. And the other thing is that rating, entirely subjective. So 2 things to drive engagement in the first moments of your next webinar. Make it easy for people to participate. Maybe just get them to put a 1 or a 2 or a 3, ask a simple question and get them to respond using a number as opposed to a word. And secondly, make it low stakes so that people feel I can put this out there and I'm not going to get it wrong. I hope you found that useful. If you did, put a comment in the chat and we'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.